my name is DJ Parman. I am 19 years old and I am volunteering through A Broader View at a project that is a home for girls in Kathmandu, Nepal. And why am I volunteering in Nepal? Well, there was no specific reason to choose Nepal over other countries, more of a collection of 3 minor reasons. I was interested in the culture and I liked the different types of programs that they offered in Nepal. And the third one would be that with my prior time constraints, I was only able to get a visa for Nepal versus other countries, because you don't have to do any work prior for a visa, only at the airport. What was the most surprising thing you experienced while in the program? I think one of the more interesting things coming here is that they only have 1 day off officially in the program. They only have Saturday off. You can, however, take Sunday off as a volunteer, but technically it is still a working day. And with the host family, there was nothing really that surprising. They were all sweet and nice and just very lovely overall. As for the country, they have this little head nod. As an American, it can be a little non-forward and you don't always know if it's a yes or if it's a no, so that takes a little getting used to. What was the most difficult thing you experienced in the program? I would say in the program, one of the most difficult things was having to repeatedly ask what the day's schedule was, because sometimes the girls that I work with, they have a day for cleaning and they have a day that they need to do these specific chores, and that changes the schedule of whatever I have planned for that day. And so you need to ask repeatedly or else you won't get a straight answer and no one will tell you out of their own free will. And as for the country, probably just the roads. I mean, they aren't that bad, but they are a little bumpy in some places, and definitely bring good shoes for wet roads during the monsoon season. Any tips for future volunteers? Okay, so for tips for clothing, unless you plan on going and doing a lot of hiking, especially in the mountains or maybe in Mount Everest, you don't really need to bring any heavy jackets. In the monsoon season, the season which it's supposed to be colder, it never actually gets cold. So unless you plan on doing large hiking, you probably don't even need to bring a heavy jacket at all. As for sightseeing, there are many different temples and squares that you can visit, like the Monkey Temple and Dubar Square and Boda. Those are very lovely, and you can see so many of the different cultural aspects of the Buddhist and Hindu culture, Hindu religions, and they're just really beautiful. As for donations, the host family, they have a library right next to them, and you can bring any old books that you have. The children love the library, and they love to go there every single day and just read all the books that are there, so they would love more books. As for the laundry and internet, the internet works perfectly fine. It cuts out every now and then, but not too often. And the laundry, you do have to hand wash, but I mean, come on. You're traveling. That's normally what you do when you travel. Though you can go to a laundromat if you have clothing that needs to be specifically and specially washed. Other things volunteers should know about. The city and town is Kathmandu, but the specific area is Dali. I probably am not saying that correctly. In this area, it is mainly housing, but you can still get most of your art and craft supplies if you need to teach those kind of classes. You can get any kind of pharmaceuticals. If you need something specific, you can go a little outside of the area, and you will find it easily. As for the weather, it is very hot, and since it's the monsoon season, it rains almost every night, and sometimes during the day, but it seems to mostly be at night. So definitely bring a good rain jacket and a rain cover for your backpack. Those are two good things to bring if you come. For the local people, they're so sweet and will greet you if you greet them back. And however, they will stare, especially if you don't look Nepali. No matter what you do, they will stare. Just don't pay it any mind. I will go to work in my program around 7 o'clock, and I will help the girls with their homework and make sure that they eat and get dressed in time so that at 10 o'clock they can be walking to school. And then during the day, I prepare for the evening. I get any supplies that would be needed and just make sure everything is in line. And then in the evening, I will go at around 4, and I will teach them a type of craft or art or a skill, such as today and yesterday we will be working on first aid, and then days prior we were working on craft things such as sewing and weaving and bracelet making. The children are just so sweet and so enthusiastic about everything you bring them, and they are just so excited to learn anything that you can give them. How would you describe your accommodations, meals, security, and host family? For accommodation, the rooms are really nice. I had a whole room to myself because there was only me and another volunteer. They have 3 major rooms, each with about 3 to 4 beds each. And so if there's only 1 or 2 volunteers, everyone gets their own room. For the meals, they have dal bhat in the evening, and it's so delicious. I think one of my favorite curries would be, I think the potato curries. I just really love potatoes. For security, it is very secure, very safe. Everyone gets a locker that they can put stuff, and then the door to their room is locked. And for the host family, they are so helpful and so nice and patient with all the volunteers' crazy and repetitive questions. And they make sure that the volunteers are safe and comfortable. What was your memory of this trip? I think one of the most memorable things in my program would be how interested the girls were in all of the classes I taught, and how they approached each class with a new vigor. For the host family, I think one of the things that was most memorable was just how nice and talkative and helpful they are to all the volunteers. They really make sure that you experience as much of Nepal as you can in the time you have. And as for the country, I think the most memorable thing would be how colorful it is here. There's colors everywhere, and it's not just for advertisements. They're just colors to make the world more colorful. How is the local ABV coordinator and staff and support provided in the country? I would say the transportation from the airport was amazing. They came and picked me up, and they made sure that photos were taken so that families would have photos, which is something I forget a lot of times. And for orientation day, they gave you plenty of time to rest because they there's so much jet lag, and so they make sure that you are well rested before learning all of the different locations you can visit, all of the schedules and places you can get your supplies for whatever program you're doing. And as for daily support, whenever I had a question, they were there to answer, and they just were super helpful with that. They always, in the mornings and evenings, they are always free to answer any questions and just chat. And during the day, if you have an emergency question, you can contact Sadir, and he will answer as soon as he possibly can. How was the information you received from ABV prior to traveling? The information was fantastic. You get a pamphlet of the customs of Nepal, previous volunteers' suggestions about packing and places to go, and it's very informative, and therefore you don't really have too many surprises. Okay. Are you willing to speak to other potential ABV volunteers about your volunteering experience? I would love to.